Okay, so I'm going to explain to you why, or the main differences between 3-channel, 4-channel, and why your helicopter is unique, because that's where it really goes from. So this is the first helicopter that I ever bought, and you can see it's dual axle, or dual rotor helicopter. It's got a fly bar, and that's what creates its main lift. Alright, now if you look over here on the tail, what you've got is this little plastic spinny thing that is completely worthless. It serves no purpose except for decoration. This whole tail section actually serves no purpose except decoration. All lift and control comes from these two main rotors. Alright, so this is a 4-channel dual rotor helicopter. This is the first one that I ever bought. So anytime that you see a 4-channel dual rotor helicopter, this is what you're going to be looking at. Alright, all control comes from these two rotors, lift and directional control. So the helicopter's sitting here flying along, it's hovering along. When it comes time to change the direction, you are actually, through these servos here, right here, see this little servo underneath here? That servo gets moved back and forth to change the pitch of the blades. See that? When the pitch of the blades change, that tips the flight surface. When these are spinning around in a circle, pretend it's a disc, that tips the flight surface in one direction or the other, so that the helicopter follows beneath it, and the helicopter itself actually ends up tilting and flying in each direction. Alright? So in order to maintain a hover, you've got to actually have a constant input into the flight surface, because it will want to do whatever it wants to. So you have to constantly putting in an input in order to keep a hover. Alright? That's where gyros come in handy. Because gyros kind of do that on a computer level to a certain extent. Although, depending on the gyro, depends on how much work you actually have to do. Alright? This helicopter was a pain in the butt to fly. I'll tell you that right now. It was horrible. I never did fully learn how to fully control it, as you can see from this tail section, which I had to piece and glue together on several occasions. Alright? That is why the beginner 3-channel dual rotor helicopter is so good for beginners, because the main rotors don't move back and forth. They're fixed. They're fixed. They don't tilt at all, so that all they do is produce an upward lift, and that's it. Nothing else. So if you were to let go of all controls aside from throttle, your helicopter would literally naturally stay there in an upright position and just float around by the air currents. You know, a very natural hover. And if you look at the tail sections, they have another rotor that is functional. It's not decoration. It's no, baby girl. It's functional. Only the thing is, it's a horizontal rotor, just like your main rotors are, and it produces lift as well. And what happens when you press forward on the controls, it turns this rotor on, producing lift, which then tilts the helicopter forward, and that in turn tilts the natural, or the lift of the main rotors in that direction, and that's how you begin forward flight. Now, it's not as efficient as the actual rotors themselves controlling their direction of flight, because what eventually happens is that you begin forward flight and you equal out in weight again, and you swing forward, and then you tilt again and swing forward, and then you tilt, and you end up in this oscillating back and forth motion as you're flying forward. You still get from point A to point B, but you kind of do it in this rocking motion, if you've noticed that yet. Okay? If you notice, Maybella is trying to help me out. So that is why the helicopter that you are looking at buying is so unique, because you have a 4-channel fixed rotor system. So your rotor system is still fixed. These do not move at all when you are flying. They still create that natural hover, because it's not going to go anywhere on its own. You control forward and backward flight through the tail rotor just like a 3-channel, but you have the added ability of doing side-to-side motion through your fourth channel by the two side rotors that sticking out of the side of the helicopter. That's why your helicopter is unique, because that helicopter has achieved 4-channel flight with a natural stable hover. That's why when I first looked at it, I was like, yes, that's a good helicopter, buy it. Because you're going to be able to achieve that side-to-side motion without having to deal with the complex control of a variable main rotor. Alright? Trust me, these things are a pain in the butt. Alright? I still can't fly one of these great, if you've noticed by my other main helicopter over here, which is still in pieces because I'm trying to repair it. Of course, that helicopter is way powerful. Okay, so there's the gist of it. I'm going to stop now.